You are tuning in to the Giving Black podcast, proudly sponsored by Agency Inc., the fundraising, philanthropy, and social change agency. Philanthropy is the heartbeat of the world.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, Giving Black family. Wherever in the world you are, welcome to the Giving Black podcast. Happy Black Philanthropy Month. I am Black Philanthropy, and I'm glad that you are joining us for a great conversation with my friend and brother in faith, Alex Adewole. I'm going to introduce you to Alex in a few moments' time, but for now, would love for you to register as an attendee at the Giving Black Conference, which is taking place on October the 1st, 2026. Our focus this year is climate action in Black and Indigenous communities around the world. We've got phenomenal speakers from Colombia, from Bahamas, Canada, United States, United Kingdom, the African continent, Kenya and Uganda. Climate action experts from all over the world who are going to be coming together and sharing information about the work that they do in their respective communities. We've also got Edgar Villanueva, who is joining us. He is the author of Decolonizing Wealth. And in his book, he talks about how we use our wealth, our philanthropy as medicine to heal the world. So I hope you can join us. We're going to have many other speakers, and one other exciting keynote that I can't mention right now will also join us, but I know you're going to be impressed. So all I need you to do is please visit givingblack.ca and register either as a partner, which means your organization can join us, and you can get multiple tickets for the conference, or you could treat yourself to an individual ticket, which means you get a front row seat and an opportunity to network with many more beautiful people. There's also an opportunity for you to join us at the Giving Black Soiree, our in-person event, which is taking place also on October the 1st in the evening. So that's going to be a lovely get-together where people all across the city are going to come and just have a wonderful time of networking and gathering and talking about what we learned from the conference. That's it from me. Once again, please visit givingblack.ca to get your ticket and book your spot at the Giving Black Conference. Thank you. Sir Alex of Calvary, welcome to the Giving Black podcast, bro.
Lord Media of Toronto.
That's me. Trying to survive out there on these Toronto streets, brother. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm good. Apart from being hot, it's really, really hot today. Really hot.
Really hot in London, UK, eh?
Yes.
What was it, really? 38 degrees, you said?
It was 38 yesterday. I think it's about 36 today.
Wow.
But it drops quite drastically tomorrow. It goes down to about 26, which is still hot.
It's still hot, but, yeah. but that's the temperature.
That's a 10-degree drop.
Yeah, in like literally overnight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Still hot.
I remember when we were in London, there would be 1 week in July where if you were lucky, you would get and then the rest of the time is just pure rain and clouds. That was what
we haven't had a drop, as in not a drop. Seriously. Wow. Since early June, late May, no rain.
Incredible. And I don't know if you and I have spoken, but the Giving Black Conference is on October 1st, 2026 this year. And so we're building up to that. And our theme actually is climate action in global Black communities. So we've got speakers from South America, the Caribbean, the USA, Canada, and the UK, where we have large populations of Black people. And people in those communities who are speaking about the various programs and projects they have in relation to climate action. And I think it's really important because we are talking about drastic weather change patterns.
Yeah.
That when you and I were kids growing up in the UK, as I was saying, like, summer was rainy, wet, and damp.
Yeah.
And now it's
all grey.
Where it's like, you're being in the middle of a desert or something.
That's exactly what it's like right now. Everything's, brown, as in virtually everywhere. They've banned disposable barbecues now because, fires are just starting everywhere. Fireworks are banned. Everything, yeah. Wow. There's a hose pipe dam ban. There's a drought and all that. So just hoping and praying for just one day of just a massive deluge of water, rain, just, know.
To have some
and then we can start moaning again.
Yeah, exactly. To have some relief. But listen, I hope we get into the climate conversation in this call. I just want to welcome you to the podcast once again. I'm so happy that you are on today. You and I have been speaking about the podcast, I think, from day one when we launched back in 2023, I believe. And I know that you've also kept track of what I've been doing, and I've kept track of what you've been doing.
Yeah.
And today, because we're also celebrating Black Philanthropy Month throughout the month of August, I was like, I really want to speak to you, especially because you and I are brothers on many levels. Fellow Nigerians, born, raised in the UK. You schooled in Nigeria.
Yep.
I think in your teens, right?
That's right, yeah.
Okay, I only went to nursery school in Nigeria. I was like 5, something like between the age of 4 and 5. I went to school in Nigeria. Other than that, I schooled in London. So we're brothers on many levels, like culturally, but we're also brothers, which is what is exciting me about this conversation. We're also faith brothers. You and I met in church in Calvary Chapel, London. And that's why I called you Sir Alex of Calvary. It goes back to the days when we were in church, worshiping together. Both of us had young families at the time. And,
that's right.
One of the things I most admire about you, brother, is that you are a family man. And I know your children, I know your wife, and I feel just so proud to have you in my circle as somebody that I can point to who just said, well, first of all, brave enough to have more children than I do. But
just about, yeah.
Phenomenal, big-hearted father and husband. And I don't know if ever I said this to you, bro, but I look up to you in that respect. I see you as somebody who I revere so much in terms of how you live your life and how you set the example of what it is to be in family and to walk the Christian walk. So I'm so excited to have you on our call today.
Hey, thanks for those kind words, and it's an honor to be able to have this discussion. We're miles apart, but thanks to technology, we can have a real heart-to-heart, well-thought-out discussion around issues, life in general. And I thank you for your friendship, for your impartation. Time and time again, we've spoken about many things. We've laughed, joked, prayed together. So it's always a pleasure to have times like this to actually kind of, if I can use the word, fellowship, and and vice versa. And when you mentioned family ties and all that, I know your family, I know your wife, the children, being a father, an entrepreneur, a business person. I'm blessed to have you as a friend, someone that I could call on at any time, and you always impart words of wisdom. that are very close to my heart and I cherish. Much respect to you, and I'm really in awe of what you do and how you do it, where you live, the stories that you've shared, and just how you view the world. It's laudable, definitely.
Well, thank you, man. The love is mutual, bro. I love it. And, I think we go back to the early 20s. I'm trying to think when me and Tower started going to Calvary Chapel.
Calvary, yeah.
I think
we've been there 20 years this year. In fact, it'll be 20 years this month. Yeah. So,
wow.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
We probably met about 20 years ago today, this month rather.
2006, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So I think I may have started going there a little bit before you.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. That's why I said, yeah. You were there before me.
Yeah. And perhaps for our listeners, we should describe Calvary Chapel. Because I think it really is, for me, a very special place, and I know for you as well. It is a small church in Westminster.
Central London, yeah.
By Adewole, his wife, Gloria, daughter Esther, and Jan, and Tom as well. Tom, Esther's husband.
Tom, yeah.
Yeah, small church, but there's a lot of love in the church.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
A lot of love in the church. And that was really what kept me in that church right up until I left London in 2008. Wow. That everybody there was literally a member of my family.
Absolutely.
We dined together, we met together, to your point, prayed together. And I want to get into... particularly during Black Philanthropy Month, Alex, the important role that faith plays in our philanthropy. And I want to ask you the question first, really. Is there for you, as perhaps there might be for many, an intersection between faith, what you believe, how you conduct your life, but also how you approach generosity? Does one drive the other? Are they kind of mutual? How does it land for you and your family when you think about faith and philanthropy?
Yeah, I think they go hand in hand. It's not a case of, you are generous or you give because the Bible says so. It really does, in all fairness. But that's true as it is. But I think for us, as a family, my wife and I, the children, I think the whole idea of giving, generosity is really and truly a way of how we organise our whole life, the whole spectrum of our existence, whereby it's not just about the money. It's about how your influence, your skills, your time, your access is for the benefit of others. Obviously, that includes money as well. And faith, generosity, they go hand in hand, and it's expressed also through, my professional life as well, where I work, at the moment, it shapes the decisions that, we make when nobody's watching. But that's a different story entirely. We don't want to go down that route. But generosity itself it's about life. It's how we structure our existence, and that's at the roots of that is, as you alluded to earlier, one's strong Christian faith.
This episode of the Giving Black podcast is supported by Flaky Crust, a London-based bakery producing the most delicious handmade pastries, breads, and treats made with care. At Flaky Crust, we believe that good food brings people together, just like good conversations do. That is why we are proud to support Black philanthropy, Afrocentric fundraising, community, and climate impact. Together, Flaky Crust and Giving Black are feeling the good around the world. If you are in London, UK, find Flaky Crust products at flakycrustbakery.co.uk. Now let's get back to the conversation.
thanks so much. I love the way you articulate it, because I also believe that there's a synergy. You know, you don't just believe on a Sunday afternoon when you're in church, right? You know,
No.
and even moments before you arrive, you're still in that faith walk. It's as though, you know, we're in church on a Sunday, for example. But that is not the only day that we are walking in our faith, right? It's like before we get there, and even all the time thereafter, we're on this incredible journey. And what excites me about that journey at times is that, you know, after the Sunday comes Monday, and you don't know what the world has in store for you, right?
Absolutely.
But, you know, there are opportunities then that you face to be generous. So I'm kind of curious. For me, generosity often turns up in how I use my time.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then so let me give you an example. I might get a call from somebody who says, "Hey, I would really love to have a conversation with you." And, you know, my schedule is back to back.
Yeah.
How I decide to respond to that call of a friend or someone I don't even know who says, "Listen, you know, do you have a moment?" Is really important to me. You know, it's important that I'm able to say yes, like, you know,
Yeah.
I have this time that I am willing to share with you. And then, of course, you and I are, you know, of a Nigerian heritage. There is no end, I'm sure you're like me, to the number of requests we have from family back home who need our financial intervention and support.
Absolutely.
And then we have our charities that we support on a cause level. So I know I'm not the only one, but I'm keen for you also to share how generosity turns up for you in your everyday life.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. I kind of touched on it earlier. It comes in different shapes and forms, but obviously, first and foremost, you have to talk about the money aspect of things, and you know, giving regularly, supporting family back home. If you're of any ethnic background, whatever the case might be, there will always be people tugging at your, you know, your wallet and your pocket to say they need this and need that. But it's just trying to structure it and making sure you actually support people. You know, funding a cause. You can only do that via your finances, but at the same time. Time as well. People having access to you. You know, it might be mentoring, it might be volunteering, or just listening and being available. That's a skill or an art that is dying currently simply because of social media and all the other pulls and tugs of the world. That's something that's dying, but people still want a listening ear. They want someone to talk to, irrespective of what's going on around them. So, you know, that's still an aspect of generosity as well. And then, you know, offering your skill sets, your talents, you know, depends on the kind of background or vocation you come from. I work as a business architect, and just helping out in that space, offering professional services or professional expertise, not just within the realm of work itself, but outside of work. You can apply your skills to, you know, for charities, for instance, or to your church or whatever faith you're part of. You can really apply yourself in that area as well. So that covers kind of, you know, your talents, your time, your influence as well. Whereby, you know, you and I, we've been through different careers and different works in different sectors and spaces. Whereby, you know, you've met people, you've built relationships over time. Those relationships in turn can be something of an opening door for someone else. You know, recommending people that, you know, I have a friend there, talk to this person. If it's a skill set that you haven't got, you have people within your network that can help. That's also can be seen as, you know, an area of influence, which in turn anchors into generosity. But also there are opportunities as well that could be linked to generosity, whereby, you know, sharing networks, information, access to others, kind of segues into what I mentioned a few seconds ago about influence. So in those kind of key areas, money, access, using your talents, influence and opportunity comes into that scope of generosity, and that shapes our worldview, especially as Christians, most importantly. And those key kind of entry points should be what drives us to be generous, especially in this age that we live in.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And I agree. I love the fact that you touch on networks, right? Because those are so important for us in our modern times to be able to survive, right? We need networks into work opportunities. We need networks because we are social beings, and connecting with each other is hugely important, right? We need networks because sometimes ourselves we need help and support. Never mind the networks that tap into us to receive help and support, as we were saying. And so, for some of our listeners, there may be a curiosity as to why we are talking about faith and philanthropy. And for me, the key reason is that within Black, African, and African diasporic culture, faith plays such an important role in how we approach generosity. So
Absolutely.
But there's also, for me, a demographic issue here that our population, particularly amongst the diaspora, is growing, whether we're in the USA, in Canada, in UK, parts of Europe, certainly on the African continent. Our populations are growing. So what that means for how generosity manifests now and in the future is really quite important. Right? It's important for us to kind of feel that we belong to the communities that we live in, but it's also important that for the communities that we live in to understand how generous we are. So I just want to share some stats with you, and I'm keen to kind of get your reflections on this. So 73% of African Americans identify as Christians.
Okay.
All right, that's according to Pew Research. And nearly half of the churchgoers in inner London, so that's about 48% of people who live in inner London, are Black or people of African ancestry. And even here in Canada, amongst Black people and Asian people, we are twice as likely to attend a religious institution, namely churches, than all of our other peers. So when it comes to the conversation about philanthropy and religion, I know that there is often a temptation to separate the two and say, well, faith lives over there, religion lives over there, and it's really about what we're giving today and how much we're giving and how we turn up. But I'm sure you agree with me that actually for us, people who adhere to a certain faith or hold a certain faith, giving in our faith is like one and the same thing.
Yeah. So faith and generosity, they definitely go hand in hand. You can't have faith and not have that altruistic spirit behind you, whereby you're not giving out of compulsion. I think that's what sullies the whole idea around giving and generosity, whereby you give reactively when you feel moved or guilty or pressured. I think faith gives that sustainability around generosity. I think whereby it gives that structure, if I can use that word, whereby you can decide about what you believe about money and possessions to kind of gear and direct your giving, and that's driven by faith. At the same time, you'll be able to probably establish some sort of priorities for giving, whereby you're building generosity into your budgets, into your finances, But at the same time, there's also that room and scope for spontaneous needs and spontaneous givings as well. And these are facets, tenets of faith that drive that kind of worldview, whereby it's not about compulsion. You're not giving trying to control the recipient of what you're giving. So it's what's the term I'm looking for? Like someone said, good intentions are not an operating model. Somebody said that, because if generosity matters, it needs to be designed into the way we exist, into the way we live. And all that anchors into faith, into what you believe, where it becomes a way of life.
Absolutely. A way of life is definitely how I would describe it. And, I know that when I think about philanthropy as an obligation, I get really antsy with myself. I kind of like, no, it's not that. Because now you're starting to give yourself excuses. No, this is something that should come from the abundance of your heart, right? It ought to be heart-driven. And sometimes I feel that way because there are so many demands and requests for support and needs that are out there that sometimes it's even hard to manage the way that we can be generous and show up for our friends, our families, the charities that we support in community. And I think that too is something where one has to rely on their faith to know how to prioritize, to your point, and how to make those decisions that are not just kind of, front of mind, but also heartfelt and tied into one's belief system. I wonder if you have a story about generosity that perhaps has been transformational to you in your life, or a story that you kind of feel, might inspire our listeners. And before you answer that, the reason I'm asking the question is because during our conversation right now, one person has come to my mind, and I feel to just kind of quickly share this story around what generosity looks like. And I wonder if you wouldn't mind also just sharing, but I'll give you time just by sharing my own thoughts. I remember before I set up agency, I had tremendous fear about going into business as a self-employed person. I'd always worked for organizations who had paid me month by month or every 2 weeks. And suddenly I was facing this prospect of not having the routine paycheck and being really scared about that. I've got a family, a mortgage, all these responsibilities. I'm giving and I'm trying to be generous. And all of a sudden, all of those seem to be placed at risk by me leaving my job and going off to set up this company. And so I remember speaking to a friend and just saying, listen, I have nothing but fear right now about what I'm about to do. And he said to me, Mire, I know this career coach, and he helps blue chip companies really kind of figure out, their strategies, and he does coaching with them. I don't mind asking him if he would coach you. I'm like, career coach, blue chip companies. I don't have money for that. So he said, okay, let me ask him if he'll do it for free. He got back to me a couple of weeks later and he said, yeah, it's like this guy who knows nothing about me, I've never met before, is keen to coach me on how to set up my business. So it's like, oh, okay. What began from there was a phenomenal introduction that lasted about 6 months. And every month, this man who had retired from coaching in blue chip companies would meet with me and simply just give me an hour of his time and encourage me. And in our last 2 meetings, he set me a task. So this was on the 4th month. He said, Mide, I would like you to go out there and gain 2 clients. And I'm also going to say, don't call me next month unless you've gotten those 2 clients. In fact, don't call me till you get your 2 clients, and then we'll continue our coaching. And I was like, man, this guy's harsh. Long story short, I called him 2 months after, and indeed, I had acquired 2 clients. And he said to me, well done, you've set up your business. It's the end of our coaching sessions.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And I was like, are you kidding me? And when I looked back, I just thought of his tremendous generosity towards me in giving me an hour of his time each month to encourage me to do the thing that was on my heart to do, which was to set up my business. And of course, you know, we've set the business up and been wonderfully successful. But I will always remember that act of generosity that was shown to me. I wonder if there are stories that you have that you might be able to share also that really just exemplify the importance of us being generous towards each other.
Absolutely. I'd like to kind of commend you for that story there. It's beautiful. It really is. It's compelling, thought-provoking, but most importantly exemplifies what generosity and giving's all about. I had a similar story many years ago. You know, coming up, as you mentioned off the bat, I have a big family. Got married early. I've got 4 fantastic children. It wasn't easy. Big family, four kids. You know, back to back. Well, not really back to back, but having 4 kids, all under 10 at a particular stage, was never easy. And I had a friend, no longer with us, but he started his own business, and he really got me thinking about, you know, being a father, being a husband, and just, you know, trying to put things in place, put building blocks in place that would, you know, for the future, especially, you know, being a young father of 4 children. And he started this company which I was, you know, helping him out with, and I was probably, if my memory serves me right, I was out of work at that stage, and pretty much just broke, busted, disgusted. Didn't have a dime, didn't have 2 pennies to rub together, you know. And my wife was probably pregnant at that time, but I took that step with him and thought, yeah, let's see what we can do in the space of, you know, that finance. It was a financial kind of business that they set up. I just said, look, I'm more than happy to help you here, but I need a job. I need to put food on the table, roof over my head. And he was generous. He just gave me a huge amount of money. He just said, no, just keep it. You don't need to pay me back. And that sustained us at least for a season. And I remember clearly, like, why? He just didn't need to. He really didn't need to. But he became somewhat of a mentor to me. I really cherished his friendship. Like I said, he's no longer with us. He passed away a few years ago. But that sets something rolling in my thinking that, you know, you can really do all things through Christ. And, you know, even when you're down, and a lot of people use that scripture, you know, in the wrong form. It's about, you know, holding on to Christ in all things. That God has a way of coming through, especially when you think everything's it's over, it's at its end. God, it's that last minute that something miraculous just happens, and God just used this guy to just bless me at that point. We became really good friends, and he really got me thinking about just general existence and living in, you know, righteously, but most importantly in Christ, and having that giving heart. I think what he did got me thinking about giving back, you play it forward. That was never my mentality. My wife has always been a big giver. She gives much more than I do. But I think those little kind of incidences that you have with different people giving to you and sowing into your life, that's what it was like. They're not asking for anything back, but it's those kind of little kind of situations and engagements that you have with other people that really trigger something really big, that makes you challenge you to be, a giver, whereby you're really giving. You ground it in faith, whereby you identify what you have, you verify the need and the impact, and establish a practice around, the whole idea of generosity. It's but at the same time, I can probably circle back to you as well. I mentioned at the beginning that we talk not on a weekly basis, but we talk regularly, and you've been a great blessing. As we mentioned, giving's not just about money. Generosity is not about money. It's about the time, the access, the influence, being a hearing ear, and being someone who's ready to listen to whatever you've got to say, whatever's heavy on your heart, and you've blessed me in that space as well. If I can use you as an example as well, as my second example, thank you for your generosity.
Yeah, wow, what a story, man. Gosh, just out of the blue, seemingly, I know exactly, as you were speaking, I know exactly what it's like to have that trepidation that you have the responsibility for self, for your wife,
yep,
and for your family. And it feels like you don't have all the answers or all the avenues at your fingertips, really, to make it happen, right? But here we are today, amen. We managed to find our way and navigate through. And I know, sure, as you have just said, that is most definitely through the support of others that I sit here today. I can't say I would never say or even imagine saying I did this myself. I know that there are so many people who have influenced me on my journey, and I have to say to you that you are one of those people, right? As I say, I see and I perceive and I understand how you lead your life and your wife and your children as well. And I'm like, okay, this is a pattern that I can rely on and trust and follow and use as a pattern for my own life. So thank you. As we draw towards the close of our conversation, I like to now ask some trivia questions. So just to pivot a little bit for us. Alex, when you finally get an opportunity in the week to chill, so relax, and there's nothing urgent that you need to do, how do you rest? What does rest look like for you?
Rest for me is my latest hobby, playing golf.
Right. Yes, I remember you're a golfer. Yes. I remember you've taken trips to Nigeria to golf as well, right?
Yeah, but not to Nigeria. I've been to Kenya, Cambodia, Rwanda. Where else? Miami. So it's wherever I go, I tend to play golf. There's something therapeutic about just being in the open, and with nature, and trees, and just. It's time for me, that person, just to clear my head. Whilst there is that competitive kind of edge to it when you're playing, with mates. You're playing 4 other mates on a 4-ball. But at the same time, it's just time to just catch up with people and just take it easy, kick back for a few hours, and just you do exert a bit of energy. You burn a few calories in the process, but being in the open, it really is priceless. And being with nature as well, especially having the opportunity that when I go on holiday as well, there's always a golf course somewhere that is worth visiting. So that's, I think that's what I actually do to actually chill out these days. At least every weekend I play 18 holes, if my wife permits, and
Oh, I love that. Yeah. You know what? I tried golf. My coordination is not a gift that the Lord gave me.
I've never been the sporty type. I'd never played any sports whatsoever. Trying a bit of basketball, didn't work. I've got 2 left feet. That's what my mates say when I try to play football, soccer.
Yeah.
And I've never had an interest in anything else. But I picked up a golf club and I thought, hang on a second, I can really, really connect with the golf ball. And that was it. Yeah.
Gosh, I love that. I joke and I say, like, both of us are 6+, right? Like, 6 feet in terms of height. And I say, this frame was totally wasted on me. Can't anything to do with a ball, I can't manage it. Whether it's football at my feet or basketball in my hands, it just ain't working, folks. So, So interesting that you and I are alike, but golf, no, I'm atrocious at that too. So
if I may ask, what do you do to, just kind of...
I always say the thing that I love to do most in life is nothing. Just nothing.
That's brilliant.
Like, literally, I don't need to do anything, and when I'm not doing anything, I'm really happy. Really, that's where my joy is. And if you were to put me in a beach, whether it's a sea beach or an oceanic beach, with hot weather and a cold beverage, that's as close as heaven to earth.
That's brilliant. That's fantastic.
That's me. Just nothing. I can just lie there all day, and I do, frankly. Okay, let's move on to music. Who are you listening to at the moment, or who's your favorite musician?
Who am I listening to at the moment? You know what? I'm not big into music of late. I just finished listening to, just yesterday in fact, Animal Farm. I thought I need to, so I listen to audiobooks. So when I'm in the gym or if I'm just walking, doing any exercise. So I just finished listening to Animal Farm again. I find that really, really, you listen to it first time and think, I don't get it. And then you listen to it again and you start to there are different levels and layers to it.
That is a book of our time, brother.
It is. So I listen to Animal Farm again.
Time. All animals are equal. Some more equal than
oh yes, that's it. And I just saw the phasing of how things just changed over time.
That's right.
4 feet are better, or 4 legs are better than 2. It's a picture of the time we're living in, really. But my favourite artist, I don't think I have a favourite artist. I love Fred Hammond. Without a doubt. I do listen to jazz. I like a lot of jazz. It's kind of chill and kind of Afro beats, house Afro beats. They're just kind of chill. I think that's it, really. Well, obviously, I listen to 80s music mostly if I'm in the gym because. You and I are 80s kids. We're in our prime in our 80s.
That's right. Yeah. Although I mostly listen to 90s, but I get what you mean.
I'm a bit partial to a bit of Luther Vandross every now and then.
Oh my goodness! Don't get me started on Luther Vandross, Marvin Gaye, Teddy Pendergrass. Like my list just keeps going. Really. Okay. Foods. What is your favorite meal?
That's another one. It's a bit like music.
Every day, all day.
In fact, I can eat Southeast Asian dishes all day, every day.
Yeah. Yeah, you got me on that one. Absolutely.
All day, every day. But in between, I would like, a Nigerian dish somehow. Probably pounded yam in banga soup. I'm hooked on banga all of a sudden. I'm a seasonal kind of person. It's like I pick up a dish, OD on it, and then just stay away from it for, months on end. But Southeast Asian food, anything from like China, Vietnam, Cambodia, I can have that all day, every day.
Oh my gosh. Yes, me too. And as far as Nigerian food is concerned, I gotta say, fufu and etikaiko.
Yeah.
Probably the meal that I most fantasize about when not in Nigeria, which is the majority of time. I just envisage that dish in my mind almost every day. Whatever I can.
We're both leaning towards kind of southern Nigerian dishes, southeastern Igbo dishes.
That's exactly it. That the fusion of that southwest, southeast. Yeah, that's me. I'll take that all every day, as well as Asian food as well. I'm still exploring. The more you think you have tasted and understand a few of the flavors, the more there is just this universe.
Absolutely. And when you get tired of all that, I'll lean towards rice and peas, jerk chicken, jerk pork.
Yes,
I remember the jerk pork you made when you were here in the UK.
Back in the day, yeah.
Yes.
I made that last month, by the way, but I haven't made it in about a decade.
Yeah, so that's your standout dish. I remember that clearly.
Rarely ever do I cook it, but I did last month.
Awesome.
Wow. Well, goodness. Sir Alex of Calvary.
Hey.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Brother of Toronto.
What a great conversation. Always great to connect with you.
Hey,
I'm proud that I got to share my brother with everybody who's listening to the podcast. I hope you get a flavor of just the wonderful friendships that he and I both have with each other. And also, I hope that our thoughts around faith and philanthropy inspire you as our listeners and viewers to think about how faith and philanthropy sits with you, especially as we are now in Black Philanthropy Month. So I wish you a glorious and a wonderful Black Philanthropy Month, and I thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.